Good evening, morning, afternoon, night, whenever you find it most convenient to listen to the Bonfire. I, as always, am Alan the Pole with the goal. My goal is to grab some Dr. Pepper cream soda. Oh, look, the bottle of Dr. Pepper cream soda. My goal is complete. I am joined by my lovely, jubbly co hosts, DJ.
Always a good day when your most basic goal gets complete.
Amen, I say to that, as well as Tim.
I just love that you love a soda type that is basically extinct because the people that primarily drink it fought in World War II at the latest.
What, Dr. Pepper cream soda?
Cream soda in general is just the soda that you got at a fountain in a drugstore back in 19 dickety doo.
Well, cream soda in and of itself is still really good. And I know there's this one kind of cream soda that I would always get when I would go to Wisconsin, and it's really good. But combine that with the nectar of the gods that is Dr. Pepper, and you truly have something special.
Hey, don't mess with the classics, and that's if that's what makes you happy, because the fire this week certainly did not. So
no. But what does make me happy is football season being back, football being the NFL, and the Bears winning, even if the offense wasn't offensing. It was defense and special teams that won that game. So yay. Sox also won, so yay. As if they
mark this in the calendar. This has to be, there's going to be 10 times in the next decade that the Sox and Bears win on the same date. So
maybe but let's see what happens in the next few weeks, because we still I think there's still a few more weeks of baseball left, but we'll see.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty confident that's going to be the last time that happens this season based on the Sox.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, you're not wrong. All right, so before we talk about the game, of course, there's one, I guess, piece of news or just something to quickly go over, and that is that us three and everyone at Men in Red and D7 offer our condolences to former academy keeper Jakub Skiba's family following his passing at age 19. Frank Klopas, before people started asking questions at the media after the game, he wanted to say that we had the moment of silence for a member of our fire family, young kid, 19-year-old, tragically lost his life earlier in the week. He had joined the academy in 2019. Goalkeeper Jakub Skiba played a lot with a lot of our players, with Brady, with Sergio Ariel, a few others, with the goalkeepers. I had seen the kid over the years just walking around, great kid, great human being. So, thoughts and prayers to the Skiba family and friends. At the church where I do my singing, one of the mass intentions was for him. So, yeah, truly tragic.
It's a tough loss, and it comes just a few days after his 19th birthday. So that just says how young the guy was. It in a way, this is just a game, and games are supposed to be fun. In another way, in a world where increasingly people don't come together, I think the way that maybe we think they used to, or the way that they should, at least I think the way that we would like for people to be able to, sports gives us something where you get thousands and tens of thousands of people all wanting the same thing and being in the same place and with each other. And I think that can be powerful, and hopefully it's, mostly about joy, but I think it also is a good reminder that there's people around us that are experiencing sorrow and loss, and that we can be there for people, some of whom we don't know, but we share an affinity with. Yeah. So yeah, it's just rough. And I feel just heartbroken for his family and the people around him. And I hope that they're able to find some sense of peace and meaning just going forward with this.
So, uh, from that note, we move on to the game at Bridgeview. It was a cold one. It was very chilly. I just was constantly finding myself always to like having to rub my hands against my scarf or just rub them together to keep them from going too cold or too freezing. I had layers on, but I felt like that wasn't enough. There was a bit of wind, but it was still a time nonetheless.
I did not realize how cold it was actually going to be because, looking at the forecast, even though I typed the wind prediction into my match preview, it didn't hit me how wind actually hits because the press box is exposed to the elements at SeatGeek. And I was just wearing a polo when I went to my niece and nephew's joint birthday party before going to SeatGeek. And I was definitely getting chilly outside. And so I stopped and got a sweater. Well, I mean, a hoodie, but whatever. And I realized this morning, like an idiot, that I still had a label on it the entire time I was wearing it during the game, including during the press conference. So go me. Highly professional.
I love that for you. Don't worry. I've had a very similar moment. I can't remember if it was last season or 2 seasons ago where I went to the merch store to get like a long sleeve because of how cold it was or something like that. I also remember getting gloves because of how cold it was. So yeah, love.
We're just starting a thing where like the new era hats where people keep the stickers on for the entire time. We're doing that with other articles of clothing. We're bringing it in
with the barcodes and everything. But yeah, unfortunately, the game ended in a 2-1 defeat against DC. I know if I read correctly, the Fire were undefeated against DC, though for like a while. I think they were like 3-0-6, this 6 being 6 draws and 3 being 3 wins. But, well, I guess that's the end of that. 2-1 for DC, with both of the DC goals being very close to each other in the 26th and the 29th minute, where essentially for 20 minutes, it was just the Fire being incredibly slow and unable to create anything from their own half, and DC just constantly being able to recover the ball and apply pressure. And then finally, in the 26th minute, Benteke, he gets a cross that shoots low underneath Wyatt Omsberg, who was starting. Brady went the wrong way, and then literally a few minutes later, Gabby Pirani just slots it past Brady, getting around Tehran. Just a series of misfortunate events, essentially, that first half.
I mean, honestly, I get your point about like the Fire not being able to do anything with the ball, but like you made it sound for a second like DC were kind of having their way with the Fire. They had a shot in the 6th minute that was just one of those like bolt of lightning, like out of the blue things that went well wide. I want to say, honestly, I can't remember who shot it was. So I shouldn't try to make it up. But other than that, like the first shot, the next shot didn't happen until the 21st minute. Like,
well,
the goals, my argument is like the goals didn't really happen against the run of play because there wasn't a run of play that game.
There was nothing essentially.
It was 2 teams that did not look like they belonged anywhere near the playoffs, like, and for a good reason. Like it was just like like guys kicking the ball around in a midfield, and like they had the scoring capability of a guy of like a kid in high school that just put an entire bottle of like Axe body spray on him before walking into a dance. Like, not gonna score. Didn't look dangerous.
Yeah, that's essentially that first half. But like I should have said it in that way where those 20 minutes, nothing really happened, but DC were probably still maybe the more
protagonists. They were They were a little bit. They were a little bit better on the ball. The Fire looked a little bit more on their back heels, but like it was kind of indeterminate and stuff in the midfield. DC didn't look particularly dangerous. Carlos Tehran was tasked with basically annoying the heck out of Christian Benteke, which, I mean, I think that if I'm Carlos Tehran, that seems like a fun job for me.
Mm-hmm.
And he seemed like he was doing an okay job of it. for the first 20 minutes plus, to be honest, up until that first goal.
Yeah, up until that first goal. So, first half comes and goes after those two goals. The atmosphere and just the feeling in the stadium was fairly low from both supporter sections, but everyone did their best to like sort of just get back into a sort of a rhythm and get some sort of support going in the supporter section. But there were times where just everyone was like, what are we doing here? It was like, I mean, the combination of what we saw in the first half plus it being cold, doesn't. Second half though, the Fire did come out.
Can we talk about the goals for another, just the DC's goals for a minute?
Of course, please.
It just seemed like both of them were kind of individual mistakes. Carlos Terán on the first one where he just wasn't in the right place. And like that happens. He was trying to play a header out. Doesn't get it after a clearance. DC had a shot on target. The ball's up in the air. Terán tries clearing it out with his head. Doesn't get it. So the ball lands at the feet of Christian Benteke, like basically at the penalty spot. Like it really could not have been closer to the penalty spot. And Benteke could not have been closer to the penalty spot. And he just lasers it. And so I thought there was a little bit of irony there where Christian Benteke, the like king of aerial battles, he's like the king of headers in MLS. Like he's got like 3 times as many as the next guy in the league this season. A header is involved in the play in the sense that like Terán misses his and Benteke scores, but not with his head. I don't know, some mild irony there. Terán had been playing decently up to that point. It was just one of those things where he has his size and physicality, and sometimes he has finesse, and like this time he did not, and it cost the Fire. And the second one, it was, Terán was also kind of like indirectly involved in 2 ways with the goal. Like, I'm not trying to call him out too much, just like it just shows, I think, where some of the deficiencies are for the Fire right now, where it was a Carlos Terán clearance after the ball made it in the box. It was taken for a DC throw-in in the 26th minute. It was a short throw to Benteke, who got it to Pirani. And Pirani is kept onside by the fact that Carlos Terán didn't step out of the box, basically. Otherwise, it would have been an offside call, and the goal wouldn't have counted. So I think Klick actually had the assist in that one. I think the ball got from Benteke to Klick and then to Pirani. But it was still like one of those things where like the Fire were just like not quite sharp enough on defense, and I just wanted to call it out because that's really and like they didn't defend badly for the majority of the first half or anything like that, but like there were these moments that they just did not defend the right way, or a player did not defend the right way, and like, I mean, it happened to be Terán. I don't necessarily think that he had a terrible game, but like it happened to be Terán and on both goals, and it cost the Fire twice.
Terán did not.
Time.
Terán just, there was a point too during the first half where Terán, it didn't seem like he knew what he was doing. He kept the ball for I think about 30 to 45 seconds, and just they never passed it around. He would like pass it to Sakay, pass it right back to him, and they just stood basically still, which.
That happened several times in the first half, and I have that in my minute notes because I was in the press box, so I was taking a little bit better notes, although looking back on them, sometimes like I misspelled that guy's name. But the Fire were trying to. The thing is, DC are a pressing team, right? And I think that the game plan was probably, if we keep on trying to play out of the back, we will get DC to press us. We'll get guys out of position and then send the ball forward. We've got patterns that we're looking for. and will win the one-on-one on the other side. And then a lot of DC will be out of position because like if you get those pressing triggers, then DC will have like 8 guys forward, and then we know what's going on. We'll win. We'll have numbers going the other way. DC weren't falling for it because like they press a lot, but they're not like mindless pressing machines. Like they kind of understood what was going on. And so when you like pass the ball between 3 center backs for a minute and a half, or it was never a minute and a half, but like you're right, like it was 45 seconds. DC are like, haha, we see what you're doing. We're not that stupid.
You've activated my trap card. Yeah. Unfortunate,
They called
really.
the fire monologuing.
Yeah, it was 100%. That's a.
I love that.
It's like, all right. Carlos Turan, Arnos, okay, you guys vamp for 45 seconds. What? We're not. Just vamp, dude. Just vamp.
Keep vamping. All right. So, second half, the Fire did come out a bit more stronger. In the 41st minute, we had essentially like a rocket of a volley from Acosta that bounces off the inside of the post there. I think there was 2 like off the post shots from the Fire that just went out, and it was truly unfortunate.
That's the only one that I had, but yeah, that was the first half. Just to be clear.
That was the first half.
41st minute. You know, I know, time is a flat circle, and the game was very boring until it was not.
Time is a flat circle for me until I figure out what I'm doing with my life. All right. So,
so congratulations. Just everyone, let's hold out for like, I don't know, man. I'm like a good like 15 years, 12, 13 years older than you, and I haven't. So, I don't know, man. But it was the first half, and like it was just a laser from Acosta, and like it just seemed like you were behind the goal, right, for it.
I was behind, and I felt the boiling of the cross of the post,
and it
in my joints.
Like, it looked to me when I saw it happening from other side of the field, and other side of the half, the ball just like going in slow motion across the goal. Like literally from like hitting the left post, moving to the right post, sailing like out and wide. And I was just waiting for a Fire player to get a head or a foot or a chest or something on it. And that absolutely did not happen.
I feel like that's sort of the tale of the second half as well, whenever the Fire did have moments that either sailed past or crossed past the mouth of the goal, where it was just immediately headed out or just booted out by a DC player. Again, Taylor's oldest time. And you'd think that with a player like, or with players such as Marin Haile Selassie or Hugo Kuipers, we would have maybe a few more players in those positions, but I don't know. But we did have a goal, as we mentioned, and what a goal it was, coming off a corner. The corner just gets headed out, goes way up in the air to outside the box to Andrew Gutman, who was just standing there. He wanted to be the hero, and the hero he was of the moment, at least, just volleys it with the power of Zeus. Just an incredible first goal for the Hinsdale native.
I believe that that DC got the ball and was a failed clearance again. So it's similar to what happened on the Benteke.
A DC player headed it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, a DC player headed it out directly to Gutman.
And the thing that I really respect about Gutman was he didn't just try to like boot it out. Like he took the ball on his chest and like took a touch to like settle it, and then shot it out. And we asked him about that after the game, and he said that when he was younger, he would have tried taking that quicker, but then he kind of realized he had time to take a breath, quote, a deep breath, quote, metaphorically, because I don't know, he didn't want anyone to think that he was actually taking the time to take a deep breath, because in professional soccer terms, that's like long enough for the ball to make it like basically to Chris Brady with it on the foot of a shot from DC. But he took a breath, metaphorically, and settled it and settled himself, calmed himself, realized he had time and space, and just lasered the ball.
Yeah, he just cannoned it to the right side, and like you mentioned, it was a good thing that he took that, I guess, metaphorical, mental, deep breath just to take the shot first of all, because if it was any other Fire player, they would have probably just tried to head it back up into the box to like sort of engage an aerial duel essentially between the players already in the box. But no, he just took it himself. He just put on the Infinity Gauntlet and said, "Fine, I'll do it myself."
And it's also worth saying before we, this was his 100th MLS start, and his first goal with the Flyers senior team. After, growing up in the academy, he talked midweek before the match when we got a chance to talk to him, about like watching games at what is now SeatGeek, but he says still Toyota Park to him, which respect.
So many people still say Toyota Park, to be fair.
No, like that's what I'm saying.
It's
like
still Sears Tower.
Yeah, no, right. It's still Sears
Tower,
and it's still Toyota Park. It's not SeatGeek until the Fire win a trophy in it with that name, and I just don't see that happening. Meh. I mean, maybe the Red Stars win a trophy in it with that name. I'll then it'll be SeatGeek. It's going to take more than the North Coast Music Festival. Is all I'm saying. But yeah, like 100th start, and like that has been delayed for a while because of injuries, and he talked about that. But first Fire goal with his senior team after coming up through the academy, local kid, and it is unfortunate it didn't come as part of a win, but it's still good to see, and I think it meant something to him, and I think it means something to. There are definitely people in the stands that had watched him play in the academy, and it means a lot to them as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The rest of the game, the Fire definitely had a lot more energy and a lot more, I guess I want to say, and maybe not chances, but like they just kept pushing it forward a bit more. But I felt like still there were a lot of individual or just like a few little group mistakes that just did not let the Fire, I guess, get that second goal to at least salvage a point.
Yeah. Although at this point, the difference between 0 points and 1 point for the Fire mathematically is, I mean, it's like somebody handing you a teaspoon when your boat's taking on water, or not handing you the teaspoon. Like the boat's going the same place, right?
But still, 1 is greater than 0. I'll just say that. But
that is,
yeah,
that is mathematically true.
Yes. Now the Fire are 6 points out of the last playout spot. They can't finish more than 44 points mathematically.
And so that means they can't finish higher than 4th mathematically, if everyone above them didn't get, well, they get points off each other, but you get the point. My like back of the envelope math has the Fire at about a 5% chance of making the playoffs.
Which
isn't
like 0.
Isn't 0, right? Like, no, like if somebody had a 20-sided die and they rolled it, I know I keep on using this metaphor, but whatever, it works. They had a 20-sided die, they rolled it, and like when they were like, shaking it in their hands, they were like, look, it's gonna be a 15, and they called it, and it was a 15. You'd be like, oh wow, that's cool. But you wouldn't be like, that is the craziest thing I've seen in my life. You just won Powerball. Like, come on. Like, it's not 5% things have happened.
It's Dungeons and Dragons. You roll the dice and you get a D20 and you get a nat 20. That's essentially what we're looking at here.
Yeah.
Nerd stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think the Fire have the ability to roll a nat 20 right now.
No, I feel like they'd be just crit
the
failing,
die is
honestly. the die has already been cast.
There's nothing above 15 anymore.
Mm. Who erased the numbers? Why is this blank?
But
yeah, I mean, like there wasn't really a good chance, a great chance for either side. I mean, DC, Jacob Morel had a very good chance at one point. I want to say like the 82nd minute. Although that's 100% not in my notes. I'm just guessing that. And Brady made a very good save to get it above his, to get it away. I don't think it made it. It may have made it out for a corner. But it, yeah, just not great. Like that's the thing. Like the goal could have been a galvanizing thing. To me, the Fire came out in the second half and dominated the second half, like the better team. Which I would argue, given especially absences that DC had, other than Christian Benteke, who like is also a Belgian striker, like Hugo Kuipers, and I mean, just has a better track record in an MLS. Other than Christian Benteke, and like maybe you could put a pin in that and say, well, we'll fight about that or whatever. I just think that it's hard to argue that the Fire were not the more skilled team at every other position in the roster. And they didn't play like it in the first half. They did coming out of the second half up to Gutman's goal. And then after that, didn't really play as much like it again. Like the goal could have been a galvanizing moment where the team then was like, all right, we're within one. Let's go. Let's get this done. Like Kellen hit the woodwork. He was inches away from getting the Fire within one. Then let's get the goal. Like let's do that another time and it will go in and we will be level and then we can win this thing. It just didn't, I don't know how you felt, but like from where I was sitting, it didn't really seem like the Fire were bringing that energy after the goal.
Nope. Just they it felt like they didn't have enough to actually take a chance, I guess, to really challenge the DC goalkeeper.
And yeah, and Alex Bono was not having, I mean, he's not having a great season. Like, and DC did not have any of their preferred defensive midfielders. They played out of a 4-5-1. Like, I didn't know that was a way you could count to 11 other than just mathematically. Like, you know, well, it's not. I mean, 1-4-5-1, but whatever, you get the point. Like, when is the last time you saw a 4-5-1 lineup in soccer?
Not that long ago, actually.
Oh, well. All right, DJ. When was it? Because I'm very curious.
22 World Cup.
Who played a 4-5-1?
I forget which team it was. One team did throw it out with that style. I forget which team, though. Okay. But I just think I remember seeing a 4-5-1 and being like, why?
So yeah, like that's the thing. Like, how many soccer games have you watched or like seen lineups for like since then? And it's rare, and it's not the kind of thing where you're like, all right, well, this is the thing that's going to win us a soccer game, right? Like that seems like the kind of formation where you're like, we literally don't, like, we want to play 3 center backs, but we literally don't have 3 center backs, or like we do not have a single guy that can play the like number 10 role. So we're just going to throw a bunch of guys in the midfield and hope that together they add up to someone that works as a creator. Like they've been playing a 2 striker system for a long time with Christian Benteke or like Kuti Pietro or someone else. And they didn't do that. They played a 4-5-1. And well, it worked. So push comes to shove, the 4-5-1, I guess. I was kind of making fun of it there, but you know, I guess you can't argue with results.
Oh, sir. Oh, sir.
One last thing before we move on about this game. Just want to shout out in terms of like a positive personal story. Russell Canoes was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis in 2021. Went public with it, which I think is a good thing because it's one of those diseases that can really be debilitating from a personal perspective, but that a lot of people that are diagnosed don't talk about because of the nature of the disease. He went public with it, and he announced early this season, before he played a match that he was going to get surgery to try to correct some of the issues he's been having, and come back as a stronger player. He had 3 successful surgeries, the last of which was just a couple weeks ago. I was not really expecting to see him this year. Like, I was kind of expecting DC to put him, give him like a season-ending injury tag on him. They didn't do that, and he made it in as a substitute pretty deep in the second half. But his first minutes of 2024, and it's good. The result isn't what we wanted, but it's good to see him, like, as a personal story. It's good to see him back and playing and recovering. It looks like, very well, obviously, if he's able to perform at a professional athlete level after the surgery that happened just a few weeks ago. So, I mean, that's a positive from a human point of view. And I think, again, like, I really do appreciate him going public and talking about the disease and his experience with it.
Yes, sir. Good on. So, I guess it's time to look forward to the last home game of the 3 home game stretch where it's Soldier Field, Bridgeview, Soldier Field.
At two
different homes.
We've got two. It's like you got like the main house and you got like the lake house vacation home.
The beach house by the lake.
Yeah, it's kind of unfortunate that that SeatGeek is kind of the beach house in this metaphor.
I was thinking of like going back and forth between you and your divorced parent, between divorced parents' houses, but it's like one parent just does not have custody of you as much.
That may actually be the better metaphor when it's like,
you
can't stay over when mom's new boyfriend is over.
Yeah.
That being the Bears.
That being the Bears, yeah. So yeah. This is against, of course.
Sorry, Caleb Williams, are you our new dad?
I don't know. Let's not go there. Caleb Williams being our dad, that's funny. All right, so notes, just a few quick notes about the Red Bulls of New York that don't play in New York. They did not play this weekend. That doesn't really affect them.
Are we really saying that after we were again the Bridgeview Fire? Come on.
I mean, at least we play in the state of Illinois.
That is true.
We don't play in Illinois' lesser neighbor, Michigan.
At least the Red Bulls don't play in a baseball stadium. So,
well, yeah, sure. So the Red Bulls did not play this weekend. Doesn't affect them in terms of like the table standing. They are in 4th on 44 points. One of their players, Lewis Morgan, has 12 goals this season. Dante Van Zier has 9 assists.
They did play against Sporting Kansas City.
Oh, they did?
They did.
So they played against Sporting Kansas City. Okay. So I guess my notes were wrong.
It's all right. We're very professional and we're very prepared. I'm sorry, guys. I got home late and I didn't start preparing notes, and that's partly on me. But yeah, Julian Hall had the goal for the Red Bulls. Alan Polito had the goal for Kansas City. Jake Davis for Kansas City got a red card in deep in second half stoppage time, which does not really affect the Fire at all because it's a player. It's a team they've already lost to this year. So hey, there's that.
But yeah, no. What was I saying? Lewis Morgan, 12 goals. Dante Van Zier has 9 assists, so those are 2 players to watch out for. Emil Forsberg, who technically is their best player on the squad, he hasn't been playing since early July, and he's not expected to be back quite yet, so we probably won't see him.
He missed, by the way. It was Scandinavian night at Red Bull Arena, and he missed it. So
that's so funny. That's so funny. That's okay. I was trying to think of I can't think of anything.
I mean, Kasper Schmeichel almost didn't play on Polish Heritage Night that one year in like 2020.
When was the last time we had a Polish Heritage Night? Because
I think it was 2022. I'm pretty sure it was 22.
I'm pretty sure we did not have one last year, and we don't have one this year. So, yeah. So I guess that's the closest thing we can think of. Rafa Shihos will be back in the lineup. That is confirmed. Are the players who are currently on international duty, do we think they're going to be back, mainly like Putsias for Greece or Lassiter for Costa Rica? Do we think they're going to be back yet?
The FIFA window's over. They will not really have that much time to practice with the team. And Frank Klopas is normally fairly conservative with reintegrating guys into the squad after coming back. He wants to give them like the full week's like preparation. Mm-hmm. So I somewhat doubt it. Ari Lassiter is a bench option. It wouldn't surprise me if he was on the bench, especially if Chase Gasper's not ready, because I mean, hey, having two left backs is a luxury the Fire have not often enjoyed this season. Nope. But I would be surprised, given the time difference and everything else, if Kutsi was in the squad on Saturday. Okay. It would be, I mean, honestly, I do wish, like, something that Frank Klopas has said a lot over the past, I mean, really all season, but like, he says, like, we pushed the game, we like went for it. I wish he would do that with the lineup a little bit more. I wish he would say, like, look, Kutsi, like, you had 3 goals in the past 4 games for the Fire. Like, I know you're tired, I know you're jet lagged, but he probably flew back from Greece on, some kind of the class of ticket where you've got a lie flat bed. Like, it's not the end of the world. I know it's 2 a.m, but like, he's also 20 years old, and when you're 20 years old, 2 a.m for your body is like not a time that you are not okay with moving. Right. Like, so like, just have him in the lineup, have him as a bench option. Thomas Barlow came in off the bench for the Fire. And again, like, he just didn't really look like that convincing of an offensive option for the team. Like, he? Well, he hasn't so far, right? Like, he's got 0 goals, and we have 7 games left in the season. And Koutsias has had 3 goals in the past 4 appearances for the Fire. So, and like this, like, again, like, I'm not trying to dismiss Tom Barlow as a player, but he works well in a certain system, which is not the system the Fire are playing. They're not putting him in his best light, and he's not looking good out of his best light. Like, that's all fair things to say. Koutsias, I think, like, the Fire did not have good options off the bench offensively, right? Like, they did not. And Koutsias is a good offensive option off the bench, and I hope that it's available off the bench for the Fire next match.
As do I. As do a lot of people, honestly. So,
like, you don't have to play him. You just have to have them there. Like, it's one of those, like, there's something between break glass in case of emergency and
sound the alarm.
Yeah, but like, yeah, I get it. But like, no, but like, legitimately, like, there's guys that you have on the bench that are like, like, if somebody like dies, we will play them, but other than that, we won't. But Kutsi, having played for the Greece U21s, like, it's not like, again, he's young. He's got quick recovery. He's never looked like he's lacked energy when he's come off the bench for the Fire. Having him in the lineup, I don't see how that's a negative, especially when there's a lot of the alternatives are not players that the Fire really would trust to score or contribute offensively.
Yeah. So, I guess just sort of sum this all up. What are our sort of predictions / notes for the final score?
Suffering is all you will get in this life.
Love the enthusiasm.
Amen.
But, yeah.
No, I mean, like,
I'm going to actually say that. I'm actually going to say it's going to be a 3-1 game just because. The Fire seem to historically enjoy getting 3-1 victories against the Red Bulls for no reason.
All right.
And then completely pooping the rest of the season.
All right. So 3-1 for the Fire from DJ. I'm going to go ahead and say, oh my days. I don't know. It feels for some reason like a 2-2. Like both sides are going to get some action. But yeah, I don't know why. But 2-2 is what my heart is telling me.
So mathematically, the Fire, I think, can realistically afford one more loss and have. I mean, they won't be eliminated if they don't win the next two matches, but it becomes like the math becomes very dire, where it's like everyone around you needs to lose all their points, and like you need to get all your points. Somehow the Fire have this way of stringing people along. That kind of makes me think. I was going to say 1-1 only because that's like less satisfying than 2-2 in some ways when you're watching the game, and like it also denies Brady a clean sheet, so you don't even get that. Like you don't even get the satisfaction of a 0-0 draw where you're like, well, nobody scored, but I guess I'm going to go with that.
Okay. So 2-2,
very scientific
1-1.
methodology. Yeah.
I love it. 2-2, 1-1, and at least one prediction of a win of 3-1. So honestly, but let's hope for that to happen. Just a win. There's only 3 home games left of the season. 2 of them at Soldier, 1 at Bridgeview again. So let's just, I guess, make the most of it while we're still here, because I don't think we'll get any more than that again. Yay.
Like I said, like it's an very outside chance for the Fire. And but hey, we didn't talk about Justin Reynolds. Justin Reynolds played again.
That's
he
true.
looked good. He upped the Justin Reynolds.
Up the Justin Reynolds.
I am down with this.
This is fantastic news. This is how you can tell that we are all very tired after the week that has just happened.
And the season.
And we have to start again tomorrow.
Over.
Yep.
Look on the bright side. A meteor could hit the Earth and we could all be dead.
I kind of would take the meteor right now.
Right? Yeah.
I was honestly about to make a Neil
2024
joke, but I can't think of one.
Giant Meteor 2024 for president.
Yeah, at this point, honestly, I can't wait for that to happen. So, if no one has anything else to say, thank you, as always, for listening to the Bonfire. If you aren't already, what are you waiting for? Follow MIR97 as well as MIR97 Pods on Twitter, Men in Red 97 on Instagram, as well as the website meninred97.com for all the articles and information, anything about the Fire, and more so. Come on, Men in Red. In the words of Jose Mourinho, I have nothing else to say.